Welcome to another game of StarCraft 2 with Vitaletum. It's been a while since I've casted a game on YouTube, but I figured it's been a long time. I'm a little sick, trying to get out of the weather. So here's another game between my teammate DmgZappa in the top left and another friend of mine in the bottom right, Kobain as Yellow Terran. And right now on this map, I'd like to say that Shakuras is a very macro-oriented game. However, it can be a little tricky to get that third base up from time to time, depending if your opponent decides to contain you, or depending on the strategy in which they decide to use. Especially with, like, let's say, Hellion openings. Hellion openings can really contain Zappa from getting his third base and forcing him to stay on his natural base for a much longer time than he would want to. Hopefully that doesn't happen this game, because that can put Zappa in quite a dangerous situation. We see Kobain putting down his normal little supply depot at the moment. Don't see anything unusual quite yet. Just see a lot of standard play going down now. I think that Zappa will go for the 15 hatch, our Zerg player. And I think Kobain might just go for the standard barracks play into an expand, or maybe even into a quick factory and do that Hellion opening like I was saying earlier. We still haven't seen a hatchery gone down quite yet, and there goes the drone going down to put down his hatchery right now, and he puts down that second drone for just in case there's an SCV, and also to go down to go scout as he's heading across right now. Nothing unusual at all from Kobain yet, our Terran player. We just see that barracks just finishing and his second supply depot. We haven't seen gas yet, so I think he might be going for a fast expand now, that's actually quite unusual. I did not expect him not to get gas. So he will be going for that fast expand. There's nothing else he can really go for at this time, especially since he has not started any additional barracks. They're not being built at the moment. We do have gas in his and Zerg spawning pool going down right now, and we see that just now that our Yellow Terran has just started scouting, still does not know what our Zerg player is doing at all, and has no idea what scouting capabilities or what could be coming his way, which could be quite dangerous. So I think right now he's hoping for just a simple macro game. And we do see that command center now going down. Looks like he's getting ready for a very he's trying to out macro a Zerg player, which can be extremely difficult, but is possible as long as you can get that contained down like I was talking about, or as long as you can continue pressure in some form or way. And we do see a full scout going down by our Terran player, moving around, taking a look. We still have not seen, there we go, finally metabolic boost has just started. 2 queens on the way. They'll start injecting right away, or possibly put down that creep tumor that we see quite often. And 3 marines poking at the front. No bunker has gone down quite yet, and another command center. That is actually quite unusual. It's been a big play, especially with MVP and a couple other high caliber Terrans, but I haven't seen it quite much in the lower leagues at all. And 2 gases as well going down. I'm going to assume he might be going for some factory play, followed up by this. Normally you get 2 barracks after this and go to some heavy bio before adding some mech play into it. But in this game, it looks like he will be favoring Hellions and tanks. Just kind of curious to see which one he's going to start with first, or he's going to get more of a heavy tank force. And he is going to push out with his 5 marines. Just poking. Nope, he's just getting rid of that scouting Zerg. More scouting Zerglings on the way. That SCV is scouting it, so he sees it exactly. He's going to push forward with those marines and try to wipe those out before they're able to move any further. And wisely from the teal Zerg, he is able to back off, and nothing, no damage was taken other than that 1 Zergling. In the production tab, we do see a defensive spine crawler going up now. He's just wants to focus on his econ. He doesn't want to make too many more Zerglings, so if there is any pressure that does follow up with this, He wants to be ready to make sure that he is okay and he is able to stall enough time to make force if need be. We do see a reactor going down. I have no doubt in my mind that he will be switching that on his factory. He's sending over his workers now. Wonder when he's going to take his next 2 gases, because that would be a definite tell if he's going to go for more of a heavy tank play or a Hellion play with these 2 gases taken. I'm kind of surprised that he hasn't started any more factories yet. And no, he's actually going to switch to barracks play now. That's quite unusual. And it's something that I would not expect from our Terran player. He's putting down his Hellions now, and I assume that he's going to switch into bioplay for the moment. He still hasn't taken his 3rd yet. He's just using that as a macro base at the moment. He does scout that Zappa's 3rd has gone down, and there is a macro base going up in Zerg's main base, which is quite useful. A lot of drones being made at this moment. He is really not worried at all about our Terran player. I'm assuming so because he saw that natural go down so quickly. They do play against each other quite often, so it could be type of a meta game where Zappa knows that nothing's going to come in and attack him anytime soon. He knows that Kobain is quite a macro challenge. Hellions just scattered around, clearing the towers. Aren't really taking the towers, which is fine. He's probably waiting for a couple more Hellions before he goes and takes them. No, he uses the Marines instead to do that job. And they're going over right now. We have more scouters that are trying to scout the front, but we're not able to. They were denied. We do have a layer just finishing now. +1 armor and +1 attack on the way from our from the Terran forces with combat shields. That could be quite dangerous if he puts in a timing attack with that. Quite unusual play at well, I wouldn't say unusual. It's just more so to the fact that our Zerg player has not gotten any upgrades started, so this could be a very key element in this game towards the later portions of the game, or even the earlier portions of the game, if a timing attack does ensue. We have not seen that 3rd base being taken yet. I would like to see that go down simply for the fact that that 3rd base is up, and if he can keep up in bases with the Zerg, he is going to be beyond good conditions. Just take this game to the point. And we do see a starport going down now, so he is going to go for more of a heavy bio play at this moment. He is going to start adding on some tanks, it looks like, as well. Stim has not completed yet, but Stim is just now starting. Hellions still watching the front. I would like to actually see the Hellions at his opponent's front base instead of back at home, just looking around, giving him some more map vision, more map control. Also, keeping those Hellions active, it's such a key component to any game. If those Hellions are constantly looking around, scouting around, know what's going on just everywhere, you're going to know when certain attacks are going to happen, so on and so forth. You're gonna see these slight, and you're gonna make your opponent uneasy with the fact that those Hellions are out. You're gonna force units that you don't want, that he doesn't want to make, such as he might put up a roach warren, make a few roaches when he doesn't want supply in roaches at all, and that is definitely a benefactor to you, even if it's just 4 or 5 roaches. That's 10 supply that he would not have. We do see Queen starting to build up on energy. I'm pretty sure that's probably because Zappa's starting to get a little frustrated with the fact that he has not been able to have map control at all this game. So he's just really focusing on that at the moment. And a lot of Zerglings go down for free pretty much. We do see Ventrilo sacks at the moment. I'm not sure how that's going to come into play. Hopefully it turns into something pretty neat, but we don't have any speed on his overlords at all whatsoever, and we do have +1/+1 finishing, about to finish for our Zerg player. No timing attack happened with +1/+1 for our Terran player, but he is getting +2/+2. Now his timing attack, he won't be able to start that until his +2 finishes, but he might be going right now, but it might be just a little too late for that. For his timing attack to do any significant damage. His third base has been taken now. He is moving around. He does have tanks starting to stack up. Is continuing with those tanks. Hasn't. I'm not. I'm not sure if he has added on some more factories, and yes, he has, and quite a bit more barracks. So definitely that heavy bio style, and looks to be no mech play as I had originally thought. It was just really odd that he had gotten those refineries so early, especially with no scout from the Zerg player. We do have another base going down from our Zerg, as well as another macro hat trying to spend that money even more efficiently and faster. A lot of Zerglings coming down. Queen goes down right now, and the engagement is coming down, and we do see infestors coming through now. Will he get the right fungals that he needs? We have tanks siege up on top. Funko's going down now. No target on the infestors. Now target on the infestors. Those infestors take a lot of damage. One goes down. Two go down? No, they do not. And the Hellion and the tank gets saved. And he goes back home, and that Marine is left to die. If you do excuse me, I apologize for my inability to cast today. I am still recovering from the flu. Hopefully that will go away within the next day or two, and I won't have to be a terrible caster. We do see that Siege Tank is sieging up at the front, trying to be quite defensive. Right now, I think if Zappa did a counterattack, he would be able to do quite a bit of damage at the moment, because we only see two tanks, and they're only protecting the front. They're not really in range to protect this third base here. Yes, they can drag aggro if the Zerglings get too close to the northern side of this third base, but I don't see that being a possibility. We do see a fourth base going down now for Kobain, and still a lot of Zerglings not doing very much of anything quite yet. I do feel like Zappa needs to transition to some other tech unit other than just upgraded Zerglings and infestors, because once those infestor numbers get too high, yes, they are useful, but they're so easy to take off if not handled correctly. Personally, I would never want to go over 6 infestors, even if I'm using 3 of those infestors as a harassment unit. They're nice to fungal, they're nice to kill huge groups, and it's nice to have multiple fungals to do that with. But once you reach these higher numbers, and the higher numbers with the tanks, they get more and more difficult. We do see Queen going down, which is not good. Queens are very necessary to keep those, but we don't see a lot of creep from Zappa. I would like to see more creep from him with that extra energy on those queens. But luckily, he has that energy on his queens. He won't be suffering from the lack of larva injects for too long. And we do see another push out from Kobain. This is a scary push. Only 166 supply to 200. And this, even if this is mass Zerglings, they are upgraded and they can do a lot of damage. Only 2-2 for them. No 3-3 timings is Kobain going to do, but he does siege up his tanks at the right time. I think that Kobain needs to burrow a couple of these, Zappa needs to burrow a couple of these infestors, move them around, and start trying to snipe those tanks. I think that would be a great idea for him. It looks like he did an extractor trick to grab an extra supply out of there, which was extremely intelligent, even if it's 1 supply. I don't see any more, don't see gases being taken from the spawning base quite yet. Still a lot of Zerglings. I would like to see those turn into Banelings or some other unit, simply because he has so many of them. If you can start turning them into something that can do, that forces them to spread. And yes, I missed such a huge battle right there. He is trying to snipe tanks, and he is doing a good job with it. Another tank goes down. That is definitely devastating from our Terran player. We do see a SCV transfer and a lot more command centers being built, as well as more barracks being added on. This is an extremely heavy bio play. I would like to see some, maybe some bunkers or some turrets going up over here. We do see another drop going down, and we see some overlords being loaded up finally, with some zerglings. And this drop is going down now, but I think this would be taken. I think he is sending all of his units over here. It's a terrible idea. If Kobain decides to attack right now, it would just leave Kobain or Zappa at a terrible position, and this was the perfect time for Kobain to free some creep out of the areas. And there goes the bunkers and the turrets right now. We do have the drop just sitting there right now waiting for the opportunity. Zergling's going down at the back now. He's going to be forced to have to bring some units back there. More factories going down as well, but all this production might be hindered quite a bit until he sees it. But I don't think that was enough Zerglings to do the damage that he intended, because he's sending back some Marines now to clean up the small group that was dropped off. I just think that this command center is in trouble now, and will it go down? Yes, it does. Still, the Marines have not gone over there. There was another drop, and that drop actually was able to completely wipe out, and I am just missing a lot of plates all over the place. I apologize for that. This fluid's affected me a lot more than I thought it would. I apologize. And then we have more Marines going down. This gets chopped up, and a huge engagement right here. I'm not sure if this is the best one. The Zerglings engage first. Huge fungal growth going down. Bunkers are blocking a lot of pathing from these ultralists, making it extremely difficult. I think he needs to land a whole bunch of infested Terrans to help with the DPS, but no, he backs up. And now he's down to 0 gas income. I think a lot of that attributed to the fact that he was only on 4 bases, did not take his 5th over here, which is he's doing now. And his 5th over here was not mining, even though he had it down. And he needs to have that extra gas income. He just will not be able to keep up with those mules and all these bases that Kobain has. And I think he is severely falling behind, even though he was able to remax. The fact is that Terran is starting to stack more and more money up. And pretty soon here, he's going to be able to add more and more producing structures, allowing him to max faster and faster. Pretty soon, he's going to be able to keep up with the Zerg remax. We do see another wave of a whole bunch of ultralists that was produced. That is, oh, wow, that's a lot of ultralists. That's 8, 9, 10, that's 11 ultralists. That's a lot. We do see the Zerglings engaging first once again. I still would have liked to see banelings being made. I think that would have helped his position quite a bit. We do see that he has stopped making infestors, which I think is the appropriate choice. He has reached that number that he needs. Yet, I still think that a nice little tech switch, maybe some mutas, maybe some roaches, any other unit would be nice to add into your army at this time, simply because the Zerg force should have every unit available to them, simply because tech switching is much easier than it is for the other races, simply because you just need that layer in that building, or hive in that building to make that unit. You don't have to make multiple, let's say, gateways or robotics bays or starports. Same with unit Terran. We do see a huge engagement going down right now. All of these units are going to be going down. Terran supply has gone down quite a bit. I think these ultralists might do what they need to do, which is just trench through this entire group and just start mauling down all the production. We do have them moving up now into the supply line. Supply line's going to go down pretty quickly now, and I think he's going to lose his main base. I don't know if we're going to see him stay in the game for much longer. We do see the Zerglings flooding in now. More infestors coming in, or I think that's the same pack as before. We do have all these tanks going down, which is a huge loss for him. Gas is starting to mine up. We don't have any workers at this base, and we have a whole bunch here. And he just lost his natural expansion with minerals still left in there. We do have tanks sieged up here. He does need to put up his supply depots before he loses them. And these infestors are just moving in now, putting down a whole bunch of infested Terrans, wiping out these tanks now, but also blocking his ultralists at the same time. That's a funny sight. And we do see his main base is going down. Bad rallies on his units, and they are just being fed to the Ultralisk. And that just makes him bigger, and that's not a pretty sight. And we do see this Bioforce will be able to clean up the remaining Ultralisk, but the damage has been done. He has already lost the base. It's producing. He didn't really take a lot of damage to his producing structures, which is quite surprising, and that will leave him in a lot better situation than most would think at this time. We do have his Zergling slowly picking off, already picking up 5 kills down at his third base, or his original third. And the map is starting to get mined out, and now it's going to be more of the battle of attrition. Who can take the most bases and survive the longest with this amount of money left on the field? And right now it looks like that Zappa might be in that lead simply because he hasn't been mining out of all the bases like Kobain has been, our Terran player, and that can lead to a lot of problems, simply because it now goes down to the point. It's not who was the most greedy on the early game, it was who played the most conservative in the early game. Right now that's showing unusually to our Zerg player, and that just shows you how strong Kobain's macro is. And unfortunately this game, I think it might hurt him. We do see more infestors being made. I still think that is a terrible decision. I'm finding that he finally starts making banelings, which is going to extremely help quite a bit in some of the bio pressure that will ensue, especially with these ghosts going down, because ghosts are extremely hard units to kill as a Zerg player. But I think banelings are the most effective ways to deal with large ghost numbers, especially when they are cloaked. We do see that infestors are walking around trying to see what they want to do. Not quite sure. I think he was worried about a drop. We do have a long distance mining going on right over there. We don't have gases being taken quite yet, which I think he needs to do. I think actually he needs to make a couple more drones, even though he's in the lead for the harvesters, just simply because of the mechanics of mules. I think that our Zerg player needs to start stacking up a little bit more there. We do see a drop going down at the moment, and if this is able to snipe this hatchery, that could be really really bad for the Zerg player. We do see another engagement there. A lot of banelings going down. The infestors are really far behind, however. He needs to put down a lot more infested Terran. He's going to lose all those infestors if he doesn't back them up right now. And that is a huge loss for our Terran player, and a lot of supply loss for both sides, actually. This actually, surprisingly, leading them quite even in the supplies, when I thought Zerg had a clear lead. We do see that this base is going down, and that is something that our Zerg player cannot afford right now, simply because his income is not high enough, and he leaves with almost all of his units. And that's just a huge detriment from our Zerg player. He just lost a lot of things, and he lost a lot of supply, and is not able to make it. I think right now if he switched into Mutalisk, that would be a smart choice. We see a lot of turrets over here, but no turrets really anywhere else at all. Just 2 turrets set up, and I think that would be able to do a lot of damage to his producing structures, but I don't think he is going to. We do see more banelings morphing, which is a fine decision at the moment. I would like to see some type of other unit going down now. And we do see that long distance mining from his third base, and it's just going all the way over there, not being very efficient. We did see another battle over here, but really not much use of these infestors. These infestors is starting to look like are only going to be able to do damage in team fights now. He still has not scouted out this, and I'm surprised he does not have an overlord over here to scout it if that gets taken. Of course he has overlords over here, but that's not the base that's mining right now. Not much going on in this game at the moment, simply with the fact that this game has really started to worn out some of these players, and a lot of the money on the field has been mined out. Still no gas mining from these 2 bases, which is quite worrisome, and I think he definitely needs to get those geysers taken with his extractors. We do see that our Zerg player is falling behind in supply. He lost his opportunity. He's been losing his lead quite a bit, and I think he has fully lost his lead now. From losing those bases, those drops doing way too much damage. It looks like another drop going down in his middle base, and he's going to snipe that hive, and that's going to be a lot of damage right now that our Zerg player just cannot afford right now. And another drop is preoccupying him, and he doesn't realize the drop. Yes, he does. He sent some units there, but just not in time. The entire supply is going to leave and be completely fine. We do see that a huge force is being built up by our Terran player. All he has to do at this point, I think, is just a move, and he'll be able to take this game from our Zerg. Another base goes down, and I just don't see any way for our Zerg player to win at this position. We do see the infestors might be able to get off some great fungal growth, and he might be able to claw his way into this game again, but I just don't see it happening at the moment, especially with these drops that are going down. Even splits against those banelings. Lost quite a bit of them, a lot more than I thought he would. Just didn't split well enough. And we do see a large force going in for a final attack, a final attempt. And he's moving forward, trying to keep the Zerglings back, learn from his previous mistakes. And he's moving forward while they are unsieged. This might be actually a perfect position for our Zerg player to actually take out what he needs to. Snipes going off all over the place, picking off a lot of these infestors and these ultralists off in the back. This tank spread is extremely well, and there goes all the infestors and the rest of the army. And I think this will be GG. There's not much left. That yes, he has left the game, and that is it for today. I'd like to appreciate for everyone that signs in and takes a look. If you could please subscribe, that would help quite a bit. And once again, I'm sorry for my voice and my lack of the ability to cast, but I do have the flu, and let's hope it goes away soon. All right, good game, everyone.